Welcome back to the Angry Man Podcast with Jason and Greg. Now, this was a topic that I had planned on addressing initially right after a specific fight was announced. But then after that fight announcement, I decided that, you know what, it would probably be more fitting to do this video closer to when that fight is scheduled to happen. But now that Gervonta Davis has addressed this, I believe that it's more fitting to do it right now. Now, Tim Bradley, shout out to Tim Bradley because he kind of addressed this a little bit in a video that he had. And we've addressed this to a certain extent, but not to the extent that I'm going to address it in this video. Now, we did a video probably about a week or two ago in regards to Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney and the fact that they are now ranked at 147 after never fighting at 147. At least Devin is ranked by the WBC number one, if I'm not mistaken. And Ryan Garcia is getting the opportunity to fight for the WBA interim titles. I've told you all on several occasions that Turki Alalshikh literally has business deals currently with all of the sanctioning bodies, which means he can now influence who's ranked where. We know that he has business relationships with all of the top promoters outside of a few in the sport of boxing, which means he can influence all of the fight outcomes. Now, with that level of influence, money, who's to say that he cannot also influence the outcome of fights? And this is something that I was going to address in regards to a specific fight. I don't want to go there right now because people will go into the comment section and talk solely about that topic. That's not what I'm interested in talking about here today. But now that Gervonta Davis has addressed this, I think it's time to talk about this. There's potential for him to address fights or to influence the outcome of fights. I'm going to play this clip from Gervonta Davis. Now, this is from a Safe Place podcast. Little Yachty and Gervonta Davis just had a recent interview, and Little Yachty asked him about Turki Alalshikh. Not only did Gervonta Davis mention something that was interesting to me and fits within this topic, but he also disclosed that there was an opportunity to fight Devin Haney through Turki Alalshikh. So let me play this clip here real quick. It's about a minute long. I'm only going to play the audio, and I'm going to come back and react to this.
Turki Alalshikh. So obviously people got stupid money in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, for sure.
Hence why all those boxers are lining themselves over there. You said that certain boxers was, dick eating for aligning themselves with them. Are you just not interested in fighting over there?
It's not that, but they came at me wrong the first time they ever came at me, which they said I will fight Devin. And then when he was saying like Devin was his guy. So I'm like, if Devin your guy, y'all gotta pay me now,
Right.
extra, like, cause I already know what I'm coming over there. You feel me? I gotta get the knockout. If not, y'all gonna give it to him.
I got to get the knockout. Unless if I don't, y'all are going to give it to him. See, I've been trying to articulate to many of you that just because Turki Alalshikh can come in and then influence the entire sphere. So I know a lot of you are looking for a UFC model, right? But the problem with a UFC model in boxing, specifically if Turki Alalshikh is involved and he's in situations where he's building personal relationships with fighters, then he can position himself to influence the outcome of fights. We all want the best fights in the sport of boxing, but we also want a fair outcome at the end of all of those fights. And if we're not getting that, of course, that will be an issue. Now, Gervonta Davis is saying that he has to get the knockout against Devin Haney in order to win. And he's saying, you're going to have to pay me additional money because I already know that I'm coming into a situation where the odds are stacked against me. The deck is stacked against me, and therefore I need to get paid additional money. But that's not only true of Gervonta Davis. The video that I was planning to do was around Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez will also need to get a knockout in order to win in his fight in September. Potentially. You can see the conflict because when you have a personal relationship with a fighter, to the extent that you have made them the ambassador for Riyadh season, and you are now considered an outsider coming into this situation, and you're not, quote unquote, his guy, then who's to say that he won't influence a fight? Specifically, if the business makes sense for him to influence the fight. This should be a real concern for all boxers. I actually addressed this again with David Benavidez, and the fact that David Benavidez has some reservations about going over to Saudi Arabia to fight. Why? Because of the possible influence of the results. We've seen Americans go overseas and get screwed. Now, Canelo is in a situation where, if I'm understanding correctly, he is supposed to fight over here in the United States. But who's to say that Turki Alalshikh's influence won't extend all the way to the United States? It already has, to a certain extent, because many of the sanctioning bodies have been influenced. Now, I know, WBC is technically Mexico, and I don't know where the other ones are established, but still, the point remains is that over here in North America, let's say that, he has influence. And I believe that his influence can extend to judges, to referees, because money talks. And fighters have to be concerned about that. Now, am I saying that absolutely 100% positively will happen? No, I'm not saying that. But if you're a fighter, you have to be thinking that is a possibility. You have to think that could be a possibility, that you could potentially go over there and get screwed out of a fight. The one thing that people should look towards in this response that is, in my personal opinion, is positive is that Tank said that, when asked about whether or not he just doesn't want to go over there, he says it's not that per se, which leaves the door open for the possibility of him fighting on a Riyadh season card. We know that he has a big deal in place right now, so that's probably not going to happen in the near future, or if it does, it'll have to be in conjunction with Amazon Prime and PBC. But I get Tank's concern. It makes a lot of sense to me, and I think all fighters need to be concerned about that, including the ones that are currently signed to him. Now, he has business agreements with, like, for instance, Golden Boy and I guess I don't even know who Devin's technically with. So maybe that's a situation where that doesn't occur. But what if you're someone that is not a part of Riyadh and you're just simply interested in just having a fight with someone specifically signed with them? Or even if you are signed with Riyadh, but he has preferential treatment towards a specific fighter, that could leave you out in the cold. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm right. You guys tell me what you think in the comment section in regards to this. Don't forget to hate, like, comment, and subscribe. This is the Angry Man Podcast, AM Sports Media, and I am out.